Hey everyone, welcome back to another season, season 41. I'm going to start this off with a triple header. I've had an insane last week, so I am uploading all three videos at once, so this should be fun. First War, Apoc, Strife, and Archangel. So this is going to be a lengthy video, so let's jump right in. So if I'm on path 1 here to start. I'm going to be using Apocalypse versus Havok, so this is why I don't have Cable, because I'm going to be fighting a mutant. So this node has the aggressive regen, not the aggressive regen, but the personal space regen, the same thing. And if they get too many regens, then they get a passive fury. So the plan here with Apoc is just kind of nuke it and bait heavies and push them to special 2. So the big thing to note here is because I'm a 3-charge Apoc, I can't do the passive, or not the passive, the stun on the light attacks, which is a pretty big part of Apoc's kit, especially when you play with him at 4 prowess a lot. So it's just something I have to kind of be mindful of. I'm not really too worried about his regens right now. He stacked up about 3, and he's thrown a couple special ones. I'm more worried about the plasma that I keep adding up. So there I finally get up to the special 2, throw the special 2. I want him to throw a heavy. He doesn't, so I take another detonate. I throw the special 1 there just so I have all of the debuffs. And like I said, at the beginning, I have Strife here, so I have the Strife Synergy, which is basically, the more debuffs, the more specials that I have, the more damage that he does. So at this point, I just want to throw this special 1. It should be enough to KO. I combo into the special 1, and that's going to do it for Havok. So a couple plasma detonates, but you can see Apoc with his 12 billion health just didn't care. So moving on to the Masochism node, this is going to be Apoc again against Antivenom. So with Apoc, you don't have to worry about Masochism. The one big thing for Antivenom, so I do have a invulnerability boost on, because one of the big things to note about Antivenom is when you throw specials, his combat power rate goes through the roof. I think it's for every debuff he has on him. Apoc places a bunch of debuffs. It's either debuffs on me or debuffs on him. I forget exactly how it is, but I just know his combat special rate is wild. So I definitely want to keep that in mind. Also, his just regen in general can be a lot. And he's, because of this node where anytime they get any sort of regen effect, they get the potential passive fury. He's going to have that passive fury a lot. So, but you can see, when it comes down to it, it's just Antivenom. He's, not too terrible with his special 1. So I just want to keep him there. But here, this is what I'm talking about. I throw the special 2. He was at about a little over a bar, maybe a bar and a half, and that shot him all the way up to a special 3. So this is why I had the invulnerability boost on. I planned for this. I wasn't too concerned about it. And frankly, I'd rather push the special 3 than bait the special 2. I just wanted to make sure I got all of my money's worth through the indestructible boost, took a couple other hits. And we don't get to see Apoc special 3 all that often. It is a pretty cool animation. But that's going to do it for this Antivenom. Apoc just smashes him out of the way. So 2 fights down, and then moving on to this Dr. Doom. So this is node 20. This is the strike counter and masochism. So Apoc, a very, very strong counter to this. I use a power start 1 for this one. Like I've said before, I like having power start 1s for strike counter nodes. It gives a lot of cushion to make sure that I don't have to worry about the furies as much. So here I push him up to the special. I didn't throw the special 2 because I want to parry heavy into it, but I also don't want him to throw his special 1. So I just, I go into it, give him a couple passive furies. I'm not too concerned about it. This is Apoc's last fight of the war, so, if I take some block damage on this special 2, it's fine. I dex the first part, and then I just block the rest of it. Like I said, Apoc's last one, I'm not trying to do anything fancy, just want to get through this fight clean. Doom can be really annoying here if you let him kind of get rolling, but this second special 2 from Apoc, that's going to do it for him. Apoc easily able to handle that fight. So next fight for me is going to be Jessica Jones. I'm going to be using Horseman Archangel. So we originally sent Jabari Panther here. That was an oversight on our part in planning. We just didn't take into account the buffet part of it with Jabari Panther. Jabari Panther is an excellent Jessica Jones counter. With buffet, with the special 2, it was a little tough. And like I said, I had a really insane last week. Horse Archangel very, very strong for this fight, despite my best efforts here. But you can see he's just going to kind of melt through. So all things equal, Archangel would have been a great call at the start, but my availability was not the best. But I was able to come in here and clean up that fight with Archangel. So tough one. That was definitely on us. But it is what it is. Next fight is going to be the Spider Ham, and this is going to be Archangel, and Archangel is just going to show you. So I think sometimes we forget just how good Archangel is, especially as a horseman. The increased ability accuracy is just absolutely wild. I mean, you can see he's just stacking up the neuros. I mean, 3 heavies, he already has 4 neuros, and then the special one, I throw that because it is Spider Ham, so I still just want to throw the special one. And you can see 30 seconds and the fight's 21 seconds and the fight's over. So next one is going to be Wong, and it's going to be a pretty similar kind of fight. A Horseman Archangel, if it bleeds and if it can be poisoned, Horseman Archangel is probably the best counter. He's just, like I said, I think that sometimes we forget just how good he is in the right scenario, because he's just absolutely insane. So here again, 3 heavies, and he's already up to 5 neuros. Here, just block. I'm not really too concerned. This is my last fight of the war, and I need, like 1 more heavy, and that's gonna do it from there. So I throw 1 more just for the fun of it, and that's it for War 1. So moving on to War 2. War 2 was a very short war for me. I have 3 fights. Nimrod, Scorpion, and White Magneto's there for synergy. I was back up in Section 1, so moving on to Section 2, I'm on Path 7. I'm going to be using Nimrod for Weapon X. This is going to be just an absolute bloodbath. So I do a Power Start 1. I want to parry medium because I don't want to push him up too high, because I know when I fight Weapon X in the past, one of the things that I really can mess up with is pushing him up to 25 during the Special 2. Want to make sure that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, and Weapon X just dies. So, Nimrod versus Weapon X, not really much else to say. So next fight here is going to be Scorpion versus Aarkus. I do have White Magneto, but I placed my White Magneto pre-fights on other fights that really needed it way more. So here I'm just going to, it's a relatively low sig. I forget the sig off the top of my head. I did check it, but it was a relatively low sig. I think it might have been a sig 20. But you can see, at this point, this is the make a stand node, which basically, there's 2 parts of this. And one thing that I think I kind of overlooked going into it was the whole big thing of the path, which is when they shrug a debuff, they get an unblockable charge. And then they get too many of the unblockable charges. You can see there, they actually go unblockable. But you can see, Scorpion is just doing what Scorpion does, pushing him over bar of power, and then making sure that he throws his specials, and then he just kills himself. So Scorpion, very, very strong for Aarkus in this meta as a global attacker. He can keep him neutralized, keep him fate sealed, and he won't get his power gains. If he doesn't get his power gains, Aarkus really is just kind of a potato. So he just kind of sits there, and I knock him down. He throws that special, and that's it. So not really much to do about that one. So next fight, I've done this fight a few times here. This is going to be Scorpion versus Hulkling. Scorpion, again, one of the best Hulkling counters in this war map because of the global. So this is the node where basically if a buff expires, falters can happen, and it's power efficiency, so his specials cost 50% less, which is great for Scorpion because I just want him to throw as many specials as he possibly can. So you can see here, this is just going to be a spam the special one, keep the neutralize and fate seal up so he can't get any buffs, and call it a day from there. Just let him do the power stings to himself, and it's going to be a relatively smooth fight. So not really much else to say here about this fight. This is the third time I think I've taken it, and it's one of the smoother fights when it goes right, when you have an agreeable Hulkling. Also, I want to throw the special one to keep the taunt on him to make sure he's keeping to throw his specials, and this Hulkling was very agreeable to throw all of his specials as often as he possibly could, which was very nice of him. But I think one more special is going to do it here. He throws that, and that's going to do it for Hulkling, and that's going to do it for War 2. So moving on to War 3, we're going back to Apoc. Cable's joining him this time, and Cable's actually going to get a fight, and we're going to have Nick Fury. So in Section 1, I'm back on Path 1. It's that same reinvigorated Fury personal space regen nonsense, but it's Apoc versus Crossbones, so there's not really much here to talk about other than Apoc just kind of turns Crossbones off. The one thing to really worry about with Crossbones, I guess, with Apoc is, yes, Apoc turns off his tenacity, but Crossbones, if he gets enough Furies, can still turn off Apoc's ability to actually parry. So, when Crossbones is spamming the special one, you just have to make sure that your parries actually stick. That's really the one way that if you do that like 7 times and Crossbones hits you enough, you could lose this fight. But here, you can see I just throw the special too. I do have mutant boosts on there for other fights I'm going to be taking in this go, so not necessarily for this fight. But you can see here this second special 2, and that's it for Crossbones. There's not really much that can withstand 2 special 2s from a rank 5 Apoc. So moving on to the next fight, it's going to be this Ebony Maw. I'm going to be using Apoc again here. This is the Conflictor, and then Hazard, Shift, Bleed, and Shock. So Apoc doesn't start Bleed Immune, but I'll get that. And the Shock's just got to be, the Shocks don't do too much damage, especially with the armor break to help mitigate it from that he can put on me, while I'm kind of standing around waiting for it. The one thing that you really want to do with Apoc against Maw is you do want to hit his block to not passively stun him, but just stun him. There, I thought I was close enough. I wasn't to throw the heavy, and that made it really fun. But yeah, so you want to make sure that you're hitting his block to stun him and then easily heavying him from there. So here, I'm at 17 charges, but it's on cooldown, so I'm free to throw the special 2. But here I'm going to wait, and now I got to wait out the falter. He throws his special 2. I just block it, not really too concerned about it. I am trying to re-parry here because I'm not listening to my own advice of hit his block, but I am keeping the falter in mind, so I don't want to get degened. So just waiting that out. But there, I finally go, oh yeah, I can hit his block, stun him, and heavy him, and that makes it a lot easier. So there, I thought I re-parried, I didn't, but I throw that other special 2, and that's going to do it for Ebony Maw. So definitely some room for optimization in that fight, but, Apoc very, very strong with that. So I'm back on Path 7 here, Apoc against this Domino. This is just kind of a standard Domino fight. So the one thing with Apoc versus Domino, so I am bleed immune, so if she does get pushed up to a special 3, I did use a Power Start 1, so I kind of went, Power Start 1 or Invuln. I think Power Start 1 with the mutant boosts was the better play. I just don't want to throw the special while I was unlucky, so then it would have been less chance of the bonus damage and the debuffs and all of that. So that was really the one thing I wanted to do. I wasn't unlucky the first one, wasn't unlucky the second one, and how I just said not much, withstands 2 Apoc special 2s. Well, of course Domino does, because why wouldn't Domino? But here, I combo into this special one, and that's going to do it for Domino. So, just able to spam specials in that fight, and Domino dropped pretty quick. So next fight is going to be with Nick Fury. It's going to be against Quicksilver. It's that same node, make a stand. So Nick Fury, a really, really strong Quicksilver counter because Quicksilver is an Avenger. So Nick Fury starts by turning off his evade, so I can parry heavy him, turn off the node, and then it's just, 5 combo into the light to put on the big bleeds and just make sure that I'm throwing special ones. So my Power Start one did run out because I'd used it for those last 2 fights, but I did pop an invulnerability because, Quicksilver. So I'm just trying to make sure that, like I said, knock them down, throw the special one so I can keep my tack charges up, and then 5 combos and really just kind of let the bleeds do the work. So, here I'm up to 9, going relatively smooth so far. I'm also trying, just not trying to do that. I was a little late, so I missed my timing on that. But, the good news was he knocked me up to enough charges where I didn't really have to worry about going and throwing the special 1 anymore. So here I'm, pushing up to the special 2 because you need to stay over 5 tack charges to be unblockable. So I get to the special 2, throw the special 2, and that's it for Quicksilver. So last fight of these wars for me is going to be Cable's season 41 and I think YouTube debut. I had a couple wars where or a couple seasons where Cable was one of my top attackers, if not my top attacker. So here I'm going to be using him against this Mystic Spidey on Rich Gets Richer. The idea is just parry heavy because if you don't medium Mystic Spidey, he doesn't get his nonsense that he does where you can miss him. And if he doesn't get to a special 3, then I don't have to worry about it. But with Rich Gets Richer and his natural power gain and then all the buffs, he's gonna get to a special 3. So you can see he gets to the special 3. So he throws a special 3, but again, I had the invulnerability boost on, so I wasn't too concerned about it. So after Mystic Spidey special 3, he activates all of his blessings, and I'm rooted, and it's really, really quite fun. So I throw the special 2 just to kind of buy time, really, and then I just kind of forget how to parry, so I forgot that one how to parry. There goes the last 2 hits of my invulnerability boost. I forget how to parry again. He crits me 3 times, but he doesn't KO. I finally parry. I throw the special 2. It's not enough, so that's awesome. So now he hits my block, not enough. I throw the special 1, and that is enough to KO. So that got really way dicier than it should have. But Cable able to hang on. So 14 fights over those 3 wars for me. So starting off the season strong and a streak up to 60. In terms of the wars, we went 1 and 2. Really strong performances, honestly, by us in all 3. So I'm really happy with how we did. The last war that we did was a 1 death loss. So pretty crazy, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. But thank you for watching. I know this was a rather lengthy triple header video. I hope you enjoyed it though. And I will see everyone soon.